Today, I'm going to teach you the exact sales process, the revenue system that I've used to make tens of millions of dollars online over the past 8 years. And if you sell a service that requires you or your team to jump on a booked call in order to convert leads into money, then by the end of this video, you'll be able to dramatically increase your show-up rate, your close rate, and the revenue you generate per prospect. And it doesn't matter what you sell and who you sell it to, as long as you own a service-based business. You might call it an agency or an AI automation agency or an SMMA or an AI lead gen agency. I don't care. It's a service-based business where we work with business owners. We either make them more money or we save them time. Okay. Now, this is part of a much bigger client acquisition system where I recently on this channel spoke about how to generate as many booked calls as possible for your business to convert leads into calls in the first place. We spoke about cold outreach, content, paid ads, and referrals. And I built roadmaps for you in order to go from 0 to 100K per month plus. Okay. So this is a follow-on video from that where we're now diving deep into the sales process. If your bottleneck right now is getting a volume of booked calls of sales opportunities, go and watch that client acquisition video first before you jump onto this one. I'll put a link in the description so you can get clarity on the roadmap to actually generate interest and get said booked calls. But just because we booked calls for our business, just because we've got interest and we now have the opportunity to be in a sales-based environment doesn't mean we're going to maximize on the money we make. There's going to be a show-up rate issue, okay, if we don't have a good process and we don't have good automations and AI in place where necessary. We're going to struggle to close if we don't have a good sales call process, and we're just going to struggle to generate the maximum amount of revenue that we can generate if we don't have cross-sells, upsells, and other things going on inside of the business, okay? So let's get straight into this. Let's say we've got a booked call. First of all, I think it's important to highlight why we actually book calls. Why do we want to get people on a call so we can sell to them rather than just sell to them on a cold call or sell to them on a landing page? Broadly speaking, whenever we're in a situation where we're selling a high-ticket service, so a service that's more than, let's say, $1,500 per month, we need to have the opportunity to sit someone down and take them through a process in order to sell them on said service, because they're likely going to have questions. They might have had previously bad experiences surrounding the service. We need to be able to build trust in a certain time frame to prove that we are who we say we are and we can do what we say we can do, that we can fulfill on the promise that we use to hook them in to say yes to being in a sales-based environment in the first place. Now, a book call might be a digital call like on Zoom or Google Meets, or preferably it would be in person. So if you're selling to local businesses, go in person, you'll have a high conversion rate. Why? Well, we live in a digital era. The AI era, everyone's hidden behind their computer screen. It is so much easier to build trust in person than it is digitally. But of course, we can only do that realistically if we're actually near the businesses we are trying to sell to. I'm going to presume for the majority of you, you're going to be digital, and you might be using a calendar app like Calendly in order to actually book people on those calls. If we call them up, we're going to again schedule that call on our app. It might be Google Meets, it might use Go High Level Calendar. It doesn't matter what you use. There's going to be some kind of calendar app that we're going to use to send over a notification to the lead, to the prospect, to notify them and book in that call. Okay, if you're not doing that, then you absolutely need to be doing so. So it doesn't matter whether you're using Calendly though. I'm going to be breaking down all of the automations we use and even AI in order to maximize conversion throughout this process. So the first process that we have when we book the call is the show-up rate process, okay? The show-up process, or the call confirmation process as otherwise known, is how we're going to ensure people are actually turning up. Because just because someone says, yes, I'm going to speak to you on Tuesday at 10 p.m. or 10 a.m., 10 p.m. would be weird, doesn't mean they're actually going to do so. In fact, most people have under 50% show-up rate in service-based businesses. We have over 70% show-up rate because we have a very strict process that we follow in order to get people to show up. So the first thing we do is we set up an automation on Zapier. And Zapier is a tool you can use N8N or Make, depending on what you already use, where we marry up two different softwares. In this instance, our calendar app and our CRM system. Our CRM being client relationship management. This is where we're going to host our sales pipeline. Our pipeline is a series of buckets. It's the sales stages in which the process in which someone goes from lead to customer. One of the first stages there is the appointment set stage. So when someone actually books that appointment with us. So we want an automation tool to move that lead and add them to the appointment set stage in our pipeline. And what that is going to do is it's going to trigger our show up flow process. Okay. Now, this comes in 3 stages, broadly speaking, and most people only have stage 1 figured out. They have automatic robotic reminders. So they'll send an instant reminder, hey, your calendar, your event is booked. They'll maybe send one 24 hours before via email and SMS, and this is automated through the calendar software saying, hey, reminder, this is your call booked with this person. And then sometimes they'll send a third one, which is 1 hour before. That's pretty standard practice. That's what most people do, and most people think that is enough. The truth is, it isn't. Now, I can get very deep on it in one video on this show up rate process, by the way, getting really granular with it. So if you want me to, then let me know and I can get really granular on a future video. Now, the first thing that we're going to do beyond just the robotic notifications, in fact, I'm actually going to write this down so we've just got at least got some kind of a visual aid. The first thing we've got is robot notifications. This is like tier 1. The second thing that we're going to add is pre-call homework. And that pre-call homework comes in the form of a thank you page. Okay, so we're going to have a thank you page that people get auto-redirected to when they book a call with us. And on that thank you page, we are going to have a video which outlines a 3-step process that people need to follow. That video is going to be 2 to 3 minutes, and it's simply going to outline these 3 things. Number 1, watch this video in its entirety. It's going to have some important information about the call and maximizing on it, and so you can confirm it. Number 2, mark the call in your calendar. You're going to receive an invite. Click yes to that invite so we know you're attending. And number 3, confirm the call and respond to us when we reach out to you 24 hours before the call. We're going to let them know that we are going to personally reach out to them 24 hours before the call to confirm their attendance. Okay, it's really important we say that because we are going to use AI to reach out to that person and confirm that they're actually going to attend. This dramatically increases the show up rate, and it increases the work that they have to do before the call. Now, as a bonus, you could also add loads of case studies into the end of that video, which is going to excite the prospect and make them want to turn up. So if you've got case studies, testimonials, add 30 seconds to a minute of just various case studies that are relevant to the product or service you're trying to sell, and that will have a big positive impact on the show-up rate. So we have the pre-call homework. Now, third thing is going to be AI interaction. There's actually going to be potentially 4 things here. I'm going to give you a bonus as well. AI interaction. Now, we're going to use an AI tool like Appointwise, which is an AI appointment setting software I'm the co-founder of. We plug that into our CRM system, and we're going to use it to automatically reach out to the prospect 24 hours before the scheduled time. And the process is going to be simple. We're going to say, hey, X, it is Y here. We're going to imitate the person who's taking the call. I'm looking forward to speaking to you tomorrow. Just want to confirm your attendance. Please respond yes to this text. Now, depending on where you're from, you're going to want to use WhatsApp, or you're going to want to use Send Blue, so you can send blue messages, or if you just want to have the cheap option, you can just send a green text message and it'd be pretty standard. But WhatsApp's going to have a high conversion rate. Send Blue will have a high conversion rate. SMS will be slightly lower, but it's better than not doing anything. Now, the reason we use AI to do this is when the prospect responds, sometimes the prospect's going to have a couple of questions. They might even want to reschedule the call. They might want to cancel the call. AI will be able to handle that entire process for us. And if we're handling, 5, 10, maybe even 15 calls a day, we don't want one person manually having to go through and respond to people quicker. AI is doing this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's not complaining, not taking a holiday. And so we're able to squeeze more out of every single lead interaction. That said, if you are balling on a budget, then you can make this a manual action using whatever CRM system you're using. So, for example, go high level, you could just have a manual SMS that is sent, an automatic SMS that is sent, but not sent from AI, so it's not going to have the ability to interact. The interaction element does make a massive difference, though, so I recommend you investing in a tool like Appointwise so you can actually fulfill that. The fourth and final thing, this is the bonus step, is we're going to have the closer or the salesperson call up, okay? And this is going to, again, happen 24 hours before. So we've got 24 hours here, and we've got 24 hours here. The human is going to call them up 24 hours before just to say, hey, I just want to make sure that you are attending the call. They are only going to do this on the condition that the lead has not responded to the AI interaction. That is very important. We don't want to call them up if they've already responded to the AI interaction. We are only doing this as a fail-safe if they haven't responded to the AI. And this is, again, going to mop up more. Some people just don't respond to their messages. Some people are smart enough to know that it's going to be AI reaching out to them, so they just ignore it anyway. So we want to mop up the final group of people with a human call, which is not going to be something all of you guys are going to be able to do. You won't have the resources to do it, but as soon as you do, I recommend you doing this. And this is how we go from a 50% show up rate to a 70% show up rate plus. There are some micro nuances, there are some scripts and so on within this. If you want me to get really granular on show up rate, then I can dive deep into this in a future video. If enough of you comment down below, okay, I want to know enough of you want this, because this is what most people do. And this is how we really start ramping things up, and we add these additional layers in. And I can break it down into a flow just like we've got going on here, but that would take an entire video. So I want to know you guys have actually got a hunger for that before we jump in and do that. Okay, so we've confirmed the show up. We want to make sure that they're actually going to show up. We're pretty confident they're going to, because we've followed a great process. What now? Okay, well, we want to make sure the lead is actually qualified. Okay, and actually, the show up process only happens if the lead is qualified. Okay, so it's really important to know that we're not obviously going through a whole show up process if the lead is not qualified. If the lead isn't qualified, meaning they've managed to get onto our calendar and they're just not actually suitable for us, then we're going to cancel that call automatically. Okay, so really this should be down here somewhere, but we'll move. I hope this is nice and easy to understand. Only if they're qualified, they go through the show up rate process, because we actually want to have the call with the prospect. We're going to ignore what happens if they are qualified for now. In fact, no, let's go through if they are qualified, and then we'll go through what happens if they are not qualified. Okay, so if they're not suitable for our product or service, because we don't want to be wasting our time on calls with people that are not suitable for us, because it's taking up calendar time, and that is time that we can use to fill up with other prospects coming through the sales process. So unless we are a complete beginner, we always want to be cancelling unqualified calls. So let's say the prospect is qualified. What do we actually do? And how do we determine that they're qualified in the first place? On our calendar booking itself, we want to always have at least one question that determines qualification. For the majority of service-based businesses, it's going to be revenue. So we're going to say, what is your average monthly revenue right now? And instead of just giving them an open box, we'll give them a number of options. 0 to 10, 10 to 50, 50 to 100, 100 to 500, 500 to a million plus. Okay, that would be the standard. Depends on the ICP, the ideal customer that you're looking to work with. You can change that. That qualification question is then going to be automated through a workflow in your CRM that recognizes, okay, new call has been booked. Did they answer more than X revenue? If yes, they are qualified. If no, go ahead and follow the unqualified process. Okay, cancel that call, and then we're going to go do this stuff. Okay, so they are qualified for now. That's what we're going to stick to. Task at hand. If they qualified, we're obviously going to jump on the sales call after we've gone through that show up rate process. In the sales call itself, we're going to follow a very simple 3-step process. It's going to be number 1, discovery, where we're going to learn about the prospect. We're going to ask them questions. Number 2, presentation, where we present our service specifically to their pains. The discovery is all about understanding their pains and unearthing their pains. The presentation stage is not about throwing them through a rigid process. It's about marrying their specific pain to our specific solution. And then the close is simply where we go through the numbers, we get everything tied up, we book the onboarding call. I've got many a video on my channel going through sales call process. I'll put some links in the description. You can watch me review sales calls. If you want me to get really granular in the future, drop a comment down below, but that's not the purpose of this right now. Now, if we do attend that call and the call is closed, okay, then what we are going to do is we're going to sell them on either a one-time service or we're going to sell them on a monthly retainer. The goal for the majority of service-based businesses should be selling your clients on a monthly retainer. A monthly retainer is a reoccurring payment you get every single month for some kind of a fixed service. The reason why we want monthly retainers is because we have stability inside the business, okay? And it means that our revenue compounds over time. We sign up 5 clients this month on 2K a month. We've got 10K in revenue. We sign up another 5 clients next month. We've got another 10K, and it's compounding. Now we're at 20K. And so all we have to make sure we do is deliver a great service to the clients that we're working with in order for them not to churn. Churn is a client leaving, okay? And therefore, we have something called churn rate, which is the percentage in which our clients leave. So if we're losing 10% of our clients every month, we have a 10% churn rate, monthly churn rate. We want to have monthly retainers. If you have a business that isn't optimized around retainers right now, you want to get some kind of retainer-based service. Sometimes we want to sell the client on a one-time service. When do we want to do this? Well, if it's a service that just doesn't make sense to do monthly retainer, it might be a one-off content package, or the prospect might not trust us fully yet. And so instead of us selling them on something recurring, we just sell them on something smaller one time first, and then we build their trust, get them results, and then upsell them into the monthly retainer later. Now, we start working with the prospect. We've been working with them for a decent amount of time. If we're successful, aka we get them the result we sold them on, then we're going to move them into our retention program. What is a retention program? This is where we offer prospects the opportunity to sign a longer term contract. So typically speaking, when we first start working with companies, the monthly retainer is going to be rolling. It's going to be 30-day rolling, and this allows us to give them a get out. It means that we can build quicker trust. It means that they're not tied in, so it's a much easier buying decision for the prospect. Okay. If they are successful, though, and we get them results, which you want to with the majority of your clients, goes about saying you need a higher success rate, then we're going to offer them some kind of a discount in order to stick to us for longer. Now, this will be different depending on your business, but broadly speaking, if you're on a 30-day rolling, you might offer them, like a 10 or even up to 30% discount to pay you for a 3-month retainer, okay? So they can either pay you upfront for that, or you just offer them a discount on their existing retainer to sign a contract that means that they can't leave, okay? And they have to give you up to 3 months notice within the business. Why do we want this? Why are we willing to drop our price? Again, more stability inside of the business. And with agency businesses, stability is incredibly important. Why? Because we are hiring team members, we're incurring costs, and it creates anxiety if we know that our clients can leave us at any time. I've been there myself. Once in January 2022, I lost 50% of our clients almost from not having fixed retainers long term. We had some clients paying us up to 50k on a monthly basis. It was brutal, and we got the rug pulled from us in a certain industry. We learned that we're never going to do that again. We're always going to tie them into a retention program when we can. 3 months is okay. 6 months is even better. 12 months, home run. You get 12 months security with a client. You are set. We also want to go for a feedback loop. So we want to interview the client and understand how we can improve the service, how onboarding can be improved. You can do this for a survey or on a call, how the general communication has been, how they feel the team have been, and just any general improvements. Even the best clients that we work with can provide exceptional feedback. We don't just want to learn from the bad experiences. We want to learn from the good ones as well. We always want to be aiming for continuous improvement within our service so we can feed this entire system. Okay, the better results we get, the more case studies we generate, the more leverage we have, the higher we can increase our prices, the longer term retainers we can sell people on up front. Everything improves from continuous improvement on service. That goes without saying. We also, when we get results, should be asking for client referrals. Now, we ask for client referrals when we hit something called peak satisfaction. This is where we don't just get clients' results for the first time, but we get them some exceptional results. And you'll know when that is. It usually happens within 3 months of working with a client, around the 3-month point of working with a client. When they're really happy, they send us a message that's a trigger, and we're like, oh shit, they're like, oh my God, you're doing a great job here. And we're like, this is peak satisfaction so far. We use that as an opportunity to jump on a call with the client where we get the feedback from them, we continuously improve, but we also say to them, hey, look, do you know any other businesses that you could refer us to? We have this referral program where we offer 10% off your monthly retainer for every successful referral you give us. This is the kind of business we are looking for, okay? And that then feeds into this big partnership referral system that we went through in the previous video. You can go and check that out yourself. Cool. So let's say, hypothetically, bad situation happens. We aren't successful with our service. Maybe your early stages of your agency, you haven't yet nailed things down. That's okay. It happens to the best of us. What we're going to do is we're going to book in a feedback call where we're going to get feedback from them, and we're going to aim for continuous improvement. Obviously, we are not going client referrals. We're just getting a follow-up call booked in. This is really important. Even if it leaves on bad terms, you want to get a call booked in so you can still rebuild somewhat of that relationship, get feedback, and improve. Learn from your mistakes. This should be obvious, but it isn't for many people. So that's what happens if the meeting is attended. Okay. What happens if, for whatever reason, it isn't? Okay. What happens if the call gets cancelled? What happens if we've got this follow-up process, we have the AI reach out 24 hours before, and the prospect says, sorry, man, I won't be there. I've got a doctor's appointment. Okay. We're going to move them to the cancellation stage on the pipeline. Now, I've got manual action set here because some of you guys will be doing, a manual interaction going on from like go high level. But if you're using a tool like a Pointwise, we can add a tag to the prospect to automate the process of now moving them on the pipeline to the cancellation stage. Another reason why AI is great. When they're in the cancellation stage, what this will usually trigger is either the AI to speak to them and try and rebook them on a future call, which is what a Pointwise will automatically do. If you're doing it manually, then this is just an opportunity for an appointment setter or a closer or someone in the sales team every day to look at that cancellation stage bucket on the pipeline, call through those leads and try and rebook them, okay? Many people just let these fall off. You will be able to rebook up to 30% of the leads that cancel with you, okay, if you have a good process in place, all right? Regardless of whether it's manual or AI. AI is always going to be better because you've got the opportunity just to reach out immediately 24 hours, 7 times a week. I'm not going to keep banging on about why AI is so much better. It should be obvious to you by now. Okay. Now, if they do cancel, then what we want to immediately do is, as well as moving them over to the pipeline, is we want to have them automatically moved over to our email list, okay? So many service-based businesses sleep on email list. If they don't close as well, so if they say no to us, we also want to move them over to our email list. Our email list is a database of anyone that has ever been interested in our product or service in any way, shape, or form. This is the ultimate nurturing piece, okay? It is the bottom of funnel. This is where we can be sending even as little as, 1 email a week when you're first starting out, as much as 1 email a day like I send when you are more established. In fact, we send 10 emails a week because we segment the email list into various different ICPs. Okay, your email list is a slow burner, and you'll find that you'll get people on there that cancelled a call with you, and 4 months later, they book another call with you because there was one case study in an email you said that resonated with them. So if you don't have an email list right now, I don't care if you're only at $5K a month in your agency, send 1 email a week. Keep people in some kind of nurturing flow. You've got to remind them that you exist. It is so easy for your prospects to forget you exist. And the email list is our opportunity to constantly remind them that we are still here. And through the noise of all the other agencies that you've spoken to, we're still here. And we're still reaching out to you, providing value and showing you the great results we're generating. Okay, so this is hugely, hugely slept on. And all of you watching this right now should be building and developing your email list, regardless of what you sell and who you sell it to. Okay, 1 email a week is all it takes. 3 is much better and much easier to maintain, okay? Most agencies opt for 3. When your list is, above, let's say, 20,000, then you can really move up to like daily sends, although that's arbitrary. Now, the final thing that can happen with regards to the sales call is we get a no-show. So no matter what we do, no matter how good our no-show pre-call flow is, some people just won't turn up. And that's okay. It's inevitable. We can't have every single person turn up. So what happens if they don't? Well, of course, we're going to add them to the email list, but we're also going to manually move them over to our no-show stage on the pipeline. There's not really any way to automatically do this because you're going to be on a call, you're going to realize they didn't turn up, and then you're going to be like, oh, that's annoying. Well, let's move them to the no-show stage in the pipeline, okay? That is going to trigger your automation. The first will be another Pointwise automation. Again, you could do this manual, but the conversion rate is going to be far less. It's going to be our no-show flow. This is where we reach out to them, SMS, WhatsApp, or send blue, okay, depending on where we're at. And we're going to say, hey, I was on the call. What happened? And we're going to then automatically send follow-ups to the prospect as well. We're going to interact with them, have a conversation, ask them some questions, get them rebooked on the calendar directly. And so we're going to go back to booked call. So we're going to feed it back into the system. I cannot count how many people I've worked with over the years that they're getting high call volume that just let no-shows fall off. They don't do anything about them. They just let them drop. No-shows are a pool of leads that were once interested in you. Maybe they just got distracted because their kid came home from school. Maybe they just forgot about the call. If you don't remind them that you're here, if you don't reach back out to them to try and reset them, then you're going to be leaving leads on the table. Okay, so you've got to have some kind of a no-show flow, ideally using AI. Some people won't respond to that. Despite reaching out, despite sending free follow-ups, some people won't. And so what we're then going to do is have a workflow and automation that then triggers our nurturing flow. A nurturing flow, I'd like you to picture as a highly curated and selected version of all of your best emails from your email list. This can be anything from 5 days, in some cases up to 30 days, of email content that maximizes your leverage. Okay. This mimics the behavior of a prospect being on your email list. In fact, they're going to feel like they're on your email list. But the nurturing flow are your best emails that you've got. So what I want you to do is write a list of all of the highest leverage points that you have inside your business. And by leverage point, I mean awards, I mean case studies, I mean testimonials, I mean personal stories, I mean events that you've attended. Anything that you've got that builds your authority, that makes you look great, that proves that you are who you say you are, and you can do what you say you can do. Based on that, and based on how much leverage you've got, that's going to determine the length of your nurturing flow. And you're going to create an email sequence that sends daily emails once every single day that's going to nurture that prospect again, rewarm them, and show them what they're really missing out on, with a call to action to go ahead and book a call with the business. And again, we're going to go ahead and mop that up. So these two things that we're going to do, we're going to have the no-show flow to rebook them on the calendar as a quick fire. And then we're going to have the longer-term nurturing flow for the people that didn't respond with all of our best leverage. And we're going to go ahead and book that call. And you can see now how we're mopping up these sales and how many drop-off points, how many leaks in this bucket there are for the majority of people that don't have this stuff running. Okay, this is how we squeeze the juice out of the sales system. Why go through all of the effort to spend your time cold calling, to run and spend money on paid ads, to go through referrals, if you're just going to accept when someone doesn't turn up to a call? You're just going to let them drop off. Because across tens, if not hundreds, if not thousands of prospects, you are literally saying no to potentially millions in revenue for your business over the years if you do not have a tight system like this running. So don't skip any of this. You can do this in stages. You don't need it all from day one, but you do need this system in its entirety at some point when you are getting more established inside of your business. Okay, so that's what happens if they do turn, if they are qualified. What happens if they are not qualified? And well, there are a number of different options that we have. We don't have to follow all of these. These won't all be relevant to you, but I'm going to highlight these and we can talk about them in more detail in a future video. The first thing is a referral partner. This is actually, I put this separate because this is the thing that the majority of agencies opt for because it's less work than going through the rest, which is upsells and cross-sells and downsells. So referral partners are simply where we partner with a smaller agency that offers the same service as we do, but they are happy to work with smaller companies that aren't qualified to us. And so what we do is we simply refer them over via email. Ideally, we actually call them up to maximize conversions. And we say, hey, look, unfortunately, you're not suitable for our service for this reason, but we have a really great partner agency that work with businesses just like you and would love to introduce you. Are you keen for that? We get them in a WhatsApp group. We introduce them. If the partner agency closes them, we then take up to 25% of whatever they earn. So it's a nice passive income source. It means we're not wasting those unqualified leads and just letting them drop off like the majority of people will do. Okay. Now, for those of you that are more established, and you're going to do this realistically when you are, above 50K a month revenue, nearing 100K a month revenue, but above 50K a month revenue, you can start considering this stuff. I wouldn't consider any of these downsells or cross-sells unless you are above 50K a month in revenue. Okay, it's going to be a distraction. Don't do this in the early stages. Just focus on your retainer / one-time services. Don't do downsells and cross-sells until you're making at least 50K a month. What are the options we have? We have low ticket, so we could create an offer which is essentially a dumbed down version of our main offer. Maybe it's actually something that facilitates our service. Okay, so we might have a content creation retainer where we are creating 10 content pieces every single month for a business. If the company isn't suitable, they're not qualified, or we might downsell them on a video package, maybe a little course, okay, which actually teaches them how to create that content themselves. Okay, so that could be like 10, 20% of the cost of the main retainer service. We might have a community by that same light that teaches them how to create content for themselves that we can get them inside of. A community is really just an extension of your email list. Okay, so this might be on Facebook, it might be on school, it might be on what. It depends on the industry you're working with. Okay, if you're working with local business, you'll struggle to get them in the community, so it has to be relevant to you. We could also downsell them to a software. Now, this doesn't have to be a software that you own. Okay, you don't just have to magically pluck a software out of your ass, although now using tools like Replit, it is very easy to do so with some vibe coding. Although this could just be an affiliate partner. Okay, so you might, let's say you're a content agency, you might have a partner like Submagic, who's a short form AI video software, and you say, hey, go ahead and make your videos with Submagic, and we refer them to Submagic. We make our 50% recurring commission every single month, but we are still mopping up extra revenue from all of the leads that are unqualified. Because realistically, if you're running ads or you're doing mass cold outreach, you're still going to get, in some cases, 50% of the leads coming through your process are not actually going to be qualified, depending on how tight your targeting or your lead gen is on the front end. So we want to have an opportunity to mop up those sales when we are at an established level inside the business, but not at the detriment of everything else. The priority in our company has to be delivering a great service, focusing on our core offer, which is a retainer or a one-time service, okay, or a combination of these two things on a high-ticket basis with a retention program that gives us stability inside the business. If you're in the stage of your business, and you'll know it as I'm saying this, where this would be a distraction that takes you away from maximizing on this stuff here, then don't even consider this. This is why I'm saying 50K a month in revenue, but at that point, it's going to be painful because you're going to be, saying no to hundreds of leads every single month. This is how we then squeeze the juice. So guys, this is the sales process, the revenue system. If you want me to dive deep into any of these things in a future video, drop a comment down below. I hope you've enjoyed this. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.